New Helldivers 2 patch just came out, and honestly, I think this is probably the biggest changes that I've seen in a patch, and I think it's really going to change the gameplay day to day. So some of it we're happy about. For the most part, we're happy, but there's some stuff in here that I think some people are going to be like not super stoked about. Let's go take a look at this. This is an IGN article going through everything here. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here for you. So just going through, each of these things. The biggest thing, which I really like, is that burning damage is now reduced 15%. So this is huge. Like if you've got a friend who loves his flamethrower and you do not love his flamethrower, this is going to help you out a lot. But it's not even that. I think also when you're using your flamethrower, like how many of you have burned yourself to death many times because of this? Not to mention, ever since we started seeing these fire tornadoes come up, you get caught in this like mess of fire tornadoes and you can't get out. So I think 15% reduction in burning damage is going to help a lot, because it means that we're going to be able to have more time to stim, because a lot of times you light on fire and then you just can't stim and you're screwed. That's going to help out a lot here. So I just want to go through, there's all sorts of highlights IGN talked about. I want to go right to the patch and show you what's in it so you don't have to read it yourself and we can talk about it. So let's take a look here. So armor rating above 100, now also reduced damage on headshots. That's good. Victory poses will now only play for the extracted. I think I kind of like that. That's kind of a fun thing. It's gonna be different. The burning damage, as we said. I don't want to go into the details on everything. The crossbow. Let me know what you think about the crossbow below. I'm sort of interested. We haven't been using it much in the folks that I play with. I haven't seen it. So it's a smaller explosion, increasing the stagger, decreasing the number of maximum mags from 12 to 8. And a few other things. This is a huge one right here. The Quasar Cannon, its recharge time is going up by 5 seconds. And if you've used the Quasar Cannon, you know that that is a very big change. Having the Quasar Cannon add 5 seconds to the reload time, that is going to be annoying. It's going to be really annoying. I've actually been using it less, and I've been bringing the spear instead. Anybody else find some luck with the spear lately? I feel a lot of people didn't bring it. I started bringing it, and I'm like, oh, I really like the spear. Okay, let's go to the Agitator. Full auto is now the default fire mode. Reduce recoil, increase mags from 6 to 8. That's cool. Laser cannon. This is one of my favorites to bring in, actually, against automatons. Slightly increased damage, but this is interesting. Reduced damage versus large volume bodies. So I'm guessing it's just not going to do as well against the Hulks and stuff like that. That's a bit of a problem. Hopefully it's not too bad against the walkers, like the smaller walkers. That would not be good. Punisher Plasma, decreased magazine max from 12 to 8, etc. There's some little things to the Blitzer. I'm skipping through some of these that I don't see people bring as often. The Eruptor, this is one I've been seeing a lot of people love lately. I'm not a huge fan myself, but I've seen a lot of people love it, and I feel like now people aren't going to bring it at all, because the decreased number of maximum mags has gone from 12 to 6. That is a pretty significant change, actually. 12 to 6, because it was already really limited, and now it's cut in half. And the explosion damage drops off slightly faster. We'll see how that plays out there. But yeah, that's gonna be very different. This next one ticks me off, because ever since the whatever the electricity warbond, the energy warbond was that came out, I was all over that. And the sickle was my main gun, and it looks like they're nerfing it a bit. So they're decreasing the amount of magazines from 6 to 3. This isn't the biggest problem. If you're good at sickle management, it's not terrible, because obviously it never runs out of ammo unless you have to change the battery. So I'm still gonna bring it. I think I'll be okay, but I'm not happy about this, that's for sure. The scythe, I feel like everybody hates the scythe. I don't know, I don't use it, but the damage is getting buffed to up 50 from 300 to 350, so maybe that'll help. But again, the decrease, the maximum number of mags down again, which is tough. The railgun is getting increased armor penetration across the board, so maybe it's time to start using the railgun again. I don't know. Stagger force slightly reduced. Heavy machine gun, third-person crosshair, no big deal there. The counter sniper is getting a bit of a buff. The diligence is getting a bit of a buff. The redeemer, increase in recoil. I'll just go through here the ones that I see people using a little bit more. The liberator is getting a bit of a buff, and the liberator concussive is also getting a buff. So we'll see how that goes. This is interesting. The guard dog. Now this is the I believe this is the guard dog with the Gatling gun or the machine gun in it. Like, that's getting a decrease in damage. Unless it's both of them. If it's both of the guard dogs, that sucks, because I think people are going to start using them less. I know that I love the laser guard dog in bug missions still, like at a higher level even, but we'll see how this goes. The spear added reload stage reload after the spent missile has been discarded. Essentially, I hate this because essentially what this means is that the reload time for the spear is going to be increased now. And I don't like that, because it was already not great, because it takes a lot of time. You got to get down on one knee, take out the missile thing, and then put it back in. So it's going to be even worse now, because it looks like it's just going to take an extra few seconds to reload the spear. I've been bringing the spear a lot, so I think this is going to have a big... This is why I wanted to do a video on this, because there are a ton of changes here that have big gameplay implications, at least for me. I think for you too. This new airburst rocket launcher, it won't detonate when shot near stratagems and other Helldivers. So if you had a problem with that when it was coming back out, they're getting rid of that and making it a little more useful. Reduced proximity radius as well. Let's see how enemies are changing here. The bile spewer and the nursing spewer move speed slightly reduced, so that's good. We'll all like that. Hulks, force required for them to stagger slightly increased. That means it's going to be harder to take Hulks down, but it did take the Hulk Scorcher's flamethrower damage down by 20%, so that is very, very good. I like that a lot. Stator, gunship sideways slightly decreased, fog generators, gunship spawners, lower cap on how many gunships they can have active, etc., etc. This is interesting. Patrol spawning has been increased when there are fewer than 4 players. So the fewer the players, the bigger the change. So this is kind of interesting. So they're actually going to be spawning more, it sounds to me, if I'm reading this right, they're going to be spawning more enemies the less people that you have, which seems counterintuitive to me. What am I missing? Tell me in the comments. But it says the fewer the players, the bigger the change. For 4-player missions, there will be no change. The biggest noticeable change will be for solo players at higher difficulties. So you masochists are going to have an even harder time, if I'm reading this right. Some other gameplay things. Made minor level generation improvements on how things are in the map. Objectives will likely not spawn as far away from each other as often as before. That's good. This is an interesting one that's going to affect gameplay a lot. You can disable automatic climbing and vaulting while sprinting. That's interesting. And the Spread Democracy mission, otherwise known as Raise the Flag, can now be enjoyed on higher difficulties for maximum freedom spreading. Love that. It's part of what makes this game special, right? Helldivers now salute when readying up to ensure maximum democratic readiness. More ambience to the trailer. Shots that ricochet from heavily armored enemies will now properly hit the Helldiver who fired them. That's quite interesting, right? Trigger discipline is highly recommended, right? So be careful when you're fighting automatons about the ricochet of bullets, because they will come back and hit you, and it sounds like they're going to make that happen. We're not going to go through the crashes. I just wanted to go through the buffs and the nerfs. So tell me in the comments, what do you think about these buffs and nerfs? I actually think that they are going to change things a lot, like a lot of these things. I know for me personally, like the spear, the fire damage reduction at 15%, and some of these other things, I think they're really going to change the game a lot, like on a minute-to-minute basis, which is why I wanted to make a video on it. But let me know what you think below. And new channel here, always appreciate a like and subscribe if you don't mind, and see you in the next video.